नमस्ते, मेरा नाम वरुण खरबंदा है। मैं आईएसआई 2006 का पास आउट और आपके साथ यहाँ पे बेथेस्डा रॉकविल मैरीलैंड में बैठा हूँ यूएस में। मेरे साथ बैठे हैं डॉक्टर विनोद प्रकाश जी। ये 1965 के एमस्टेट पास आउट हैं आईएसआई कोलकाता से। और मैं बस ये देखना चाहता था कि ये वीडियो रिकॉर्डिंग अच्छे से हो रही है और आवाज़ आ रही है कि नहीं। मैं व्हाट्सएप से कनेक्टेड हूँ अपने आईएसआई एलुमनी। आपको कोई क्वालिटी के अंदर कोई दिक्कत आ रही हो यूट्यूब लाइव में, तो आप मुझे बता सकते हैं। वॉइस थोड़ी-सी हमने यहाँ पे वैसे तो शांति बना के रखी है। कोशिश करेंगे कि आप थोड़ा-सा ऊँचा बोल सकें ताकि आपको साफ सुनाई दे। तो अगर सब ठीक है तो हम लोग शुरू करते हैं। तो ये मेरे साथ विनोद प्रकाश जी हैं। डॉक्टर विनोद ने आईएसआई से
Well,
पढ़ाई करने के बाद
some
ये आपसे बताएँगे कि विनोद जी
तो
आप
हिंदी इंग्लिश मिक्स्ड
हाँ, आप जिसमें आपको ज़्यादा कंफर्टेबल है।
first of all, I salute the enthusiasm of Varun, who is sitting next to me. He somehow discovered me. I am just an ordinary guy. The only qualification I have is I am a graduate of the first batch of Indian Statistical Institute uh, under Act of Parliament of India, which was in 1959. Indian Parliament had approved, and I earned the M.Stat degree on the basis of my research contribution, which I was fortunate to make from 1957 through 1959. At that time, my field was economic planning and national accounts. I was privileged to work directly with Professor P.C. Mahalanobis. Of course, all of you are familiar. He was a genius. As Indians, we should all be proud of him. He was the first non-white to receive the FRS, Fellow of Royal Society, and I'm also privileged to be the favorite student, I would say, of Professor C. Radhakrishnan Rao, who also received FRS second, in around 1948 or so. I think I am just blessed that after my graduation from ISI, I worked with the ISI unit in Calcutta as well as Delhi. And I was transferred to Delhi, which was a great luck for me because my home is not too far from Delhi. And at that time, Professor Mahalanobis was also a close friend of Prime Minister Nehru. And Nehruji was ex officio chairman of Planning Commission, being the Prime Minister, and Professor Mahalanobis was member of the Planning Commission. So all the, experts at that time, I'm talking of 1958, 59, 60, experts who were coming to Delhi to guide and help India's 5-year planning and so on. I was fortunate to work with 4 of them, and each one was stars were in my favor. I were very impressed. So the first was representative of UNIDO. He was Dutch. Second was who was considered to be the best economist from Australia at that time, Professor Trevor Swan. He offered me fellowship and I visited Australia, but kept mum. Then the University of Cambridge, UK, Professor Brian Radaway offered me. I kept mum. Finally, Professor Don Humphrey, on behalf of MIT, offered me. That is the Ford Fellowship, which I accepted, and that changed my life. Let me stop.
Should I ask for the questions?
Yes.
So, if you guys have any question, you can connect to the alumni, IS alumni, Abhiji or Deepak Bhaiya, and they can send me the question. So, we have our first question. Tell us any incident with PC Mahalanobis that still inspires you, and you would like to tell us to inspire us.
Yes, I think Professor Mahalanobis was very far-sighted. The plus point is, in my own case, when I decided to come to MIT as a fellow of Ford Foundation, I tendered my resignation because my immediate boss, who was also very bright, Ms. Shri Pitambar Pant, who was right hand of Professor Mahalanobis, declined because his position was none of them was economists. Professor Mahalanobis, whether you know or not, he was a physicist. He was MSc Physics. So was my immediate boss, Mr. Pant. And they were not admirer of economics because in those days, the research was based on what is called static equilibrium. If all other things remain the same, price goes up, demand goes down, and like that, all sorts of such things. So Professor Mahalanobis did not accept my resignation and gave me 1 year leave. He asked me, "You want to come back and serve India, your motherland?" I said, "Yes." And I was true to my word. I completed my 2 years at MIT, passed my PhD qualifying, returned back to India, rejoined ISI Delhi unit, worked directly with Professor Mahalanobis on income distribution committee. He was a chairperson of that. Later on, I worked with Monopolies Enquiry Commission, which was headed by Supreme Court Justice. But man proposes, God disposes. I had no intention at all to return to US or get settled in US. But neither me nor my wife had acquainted ourselves about what is now known and very common and popular is family planning. We were blessed with a son who was born disabled, cerebral palsy. So during our 4 years of stay in mid-1960s, we did our best. Ultimately, we were told in nowhere else except Vellore Christian Medical College, their hospital, that if you can go back to US for the sake of your child, go back. He had no future at all in 1960s in India. So that changed my life. We returned to US, but that instinct or that inspiration, that my promise to Professor Mahalanobis was always there. That is serving India. And that's how last 30 years I am serving as a full-time volunteer as a founder and president of India Development and Relief Fund, or IDRF. And to the best of my abilities, while 8 years ago, once again, fate or prarabdha or bhagya is supreme. I lost my eyesight. I am 100% blind exactly for the past 8 years. But my samarpan, my spirit to give back remains undaunted. And because I am no more traveling, I am focusing on the qualitative dimensions of public charity. And now let me say the latest. I'm obviously jumping. IDRF is recipient of platinum by guidestar.org, which is the largest rating agency in USA. The other, which is the most prestigious, called Charity Navigator, IDRF is recipient of 4 star out of 4 star for 5 consecutive years. And even those charities which received 4 out of 4 star 5 years ago, only, and as statisticians you will understand, only 9% were able to retain that high rating. And your organization, IDRF, is one of those organizations. And this year, in every category, we scored 100 out of 100 in each of 4 categories. So that is all Almighty's, ईश्वर की कृपा, भगवान का आशीर्वाद, और जब तक ये सांस है तब तक माँ की सेवा होती रहेगी.
वही माँ की सेवा ही सबसे बड़ा पूजा होती है भगवान की. आप अपनी माता को खुश कर सकें तो सभी खुश हो, भगवान खुश हो.
जी.
सो बस कुछ और क्वेश्चंस आए हैं लोगों की तरफ से.
जी.
तो आप IDRF किस तरह से जो कॉमन इंडियंस हैं उनको किस तरह से मदद करती है, उनका एक बिगर विजन आपका एज अ फाउंडर टू रीच द लास्ट पर्सन ऑफ पुअर कंट्री, आपका वो क्या रहेगा, तो उसके ऊपर आप कुछ बताना चाहेंगे?
हाँ. ऐसा है कि let me go back a little bit. We all perhaps should be able to recall that once upon a time, then Prime Minister Indira Gandhi imposed emergency in India.
Just a minute.
इसको मैं दूर या इसका ऑफ कर दीजिए.
हाँ जी, मतलब.
So emergency was imposed, and that brought like-minded Indians throughout world, but I am concerned with USA. So India Relief Fund as a public charity was established during the emergency time. When emergency was lifted, which means 1975-1977, for 21 months, there was emergency. Then I took care of India Relief Fund because being a development economist at the World Bank, I felt in emergency was an exception, that is abnormal, but Indian people will always need some help. Whatever we can do, that is our duty. And then I recalled, and now this may be somewhat surprising, that I had pledged to my wife at the time of around my wedding that I would serve 25 years. You know, होता है अपने आप 25, 25, 25, 25, brahmacharya, grahast, vanaprasth, sannyas. So no one was surprised in my immediate family. I took earliest possible retirement from World Bank and started IDRF. The sole purpose was to help the downtrodden in India, irrespective of caste, creed, or religion, and also irrespective of religion, sorry, not only religion, but also region. Because I considered, as I said, whole Bharat, from Arunachal to Gujarat to Tamil Nadu to Jammu Kashmir. But what is critical and is extremely important is to find reliable partner NGO, non-government organization, because I wanted to be away from the government. We have to follow the government rules, regulations, but not become integral part of the government. So fortunately, India has this tradition. We have excellent community organizations, community-based organizations, and because of my long experience and travel, I have traveled to Bharat 25 times, partly because of my job at the World Bank, partly my own commitment, and I traveled north, south, east, west, not just to meet family members, but to meet the people who are like-minded. And so I say there is no dearth of honest, committed people, NGOs in India, though overwhelming majority of them are just like overwhelming majority of society. Moral standards are not high, are low. I am deeply regret to say, but we always have examples of inspiration for us. So we inspire each other, whether it is an organization like in Chennai, SVRDS, or ERDS in West Bengal, or Shiksha Bharati in UP, or Arpana in Haryana, or Samarpan in Samarth, sorry, in Gujarat, or Shyama Prasad Institute of Social Service in Telangana, Seva Bharati, Vikas Bharati, in some, not all, few of them. So I think I should stop, but you should have more. If you have more questions, I will be happy. My moral obligation is to make sure donors' hard-earned money is used effectively and efficiently, keeping in mind we have succeeded, which is rare in USA, to keep our administrative and fundraising cost to bear minimum of 4%. As such, 96 cents of donations received by IDRF, and last year we received $2 million, means our fiscal year is calendar year 2017. And only 4% we spent in 96 cents per cent, and that too directly. And we encourage our board members, our donors, friends, family, people known to us in India to visit the NGOs, see their work, and give us the report. By and large, we have found success in identifying, because but one more thing I should add, that if any of you have friends in USA who wish to join or extend a helping hand, we also have a system of donor advisement. That is, if Varun says, Vinodji, here is my organization of the cause. Cause is fine except politics, journalism, and religion. From these three we are away, whether it is poverty alleviation through education or women empowerment or water harvesting security, rural sanitation, and so on. We are always there to join hands. But compliance, we do not compromise. We must meet all US regulations as well as regulations of Government of India. And let me stop.
Thanks, Vinodji, for giving us insight on the IDIF and the great work that IDIF is doing. We actually wanted to now understand a bit about your ISI days, like if you wanted to share some funny moments which you have with in ISI times with Professor PC Mahalanobis
Yes,
or Professor CIO.
yes. Yeah, I think that is a very interesting thing. Prime Minister Nehru always giving the convocation address as at Vishwa Bharati. And he was a national hero. We were all students at ISI, and when we all took, we were granted 1 day leave to attend the convocation and see. But 3 out of 15 students, 3 or 4 out of 15 students overstayed. And that was a third year of our ISI program. Uh, so we were receiving in the third year $125 per month stipend. So those 4 students who stayed extra without permission, they were fined. They lost 1 month of stipend. That was the discipline of Professor C.R. Rao. And his teaching method was such, he will call when after whatever he needed to say, then he will raise his finger. I say, Vinod, come up, explain. So whether this, he remembered, of course, class size was only 15. He will call it. So each of us had to do our homework before the next class. So, but personally, I had visited later on with my wife. He was very nice, very decent. Now, I come to the tragedy. The tragedy is Bengali regionalism, provincialism. Professor Mahalnavis passed away. No, nobody can be forever. C.R. Rao obviously was the automatic successor, but he was not a Bengali. That was not accepted. This is okay. So Mrs. Mahalanavis became head of the institution. That is fine. Stamp unhona laga di. Everything was done by C.R. Rao. So that much was okay. When unfortunately Mrs. Mahalanavis also passed away. So now C.R. Rao, and he was not given a fair chance simply because of narrow-mindedness, provincialism. So he moved to Delhi, and it was still okay because ISI had Delhi unit from I would say early 50s. But there it became very hard and difficult for him. So finally they found Professor Adhikari. No reflection, he may be at that time most competent person, but he was a Bengali. As a World Bank staff member, I was project director and I visited ISI Calcutta, met the head of Professor Adhikari at that time. It was in my hand to some extent to give a research project grant to ISI or to some other institution. Ultimately, we gave ended up giving that contract to an Australian team. In ISI, I met several people, including Professor Adhikari. The spirit was not there. It is a pulling leg of, there were internal jealousies and all that. So the decline, there are multiple reasons of, I mean, it is still existing. That's how we are having this chit chat. But in my time, ISI was world class. Sankhya was supreme journal in the world. Professor Yates, of course, he was a researcher, but he was world authority visiting. JBS Haldane also world authority visiting, and many others. But it is still going on. I'm very happy about it, but not the prestige it was carrying in 1950s and 60s. So, but I would say, thanks to the social media, you have again given the technological progress and advancement. I think it all depends upon all of us together now. We can help in rejuvenating ISI, and this I would say in a very modest and humble way. I would say you are giving me an opportunity to say hello to you, to listen to you, and you keep up the momentum, and I am sure future can be much brighter than heretofore.
Sure, Ji. Things are, it's all of like a kind of a blessings things, and it keeps going from one person to other. So we were blessed. All your blessings are coming to us, and we are going towards the direction where we can help the humanity better. So there are a couple of other questions. If you
Yes.
want to take a water break, pani wani
No,
लेना
just
चाहिए?
few. It will just few seconds. Yeah. Fine.
सो कुछ जो क्वेश्चन जो आईएसआई से, जैसे हमारे साथ मोस्टली जो अभी लोग लाइव देख रहे हैं हमें, ये लोग आईएसआई से ग्रेजुएट हो चुके हैं, तो इनके लिए ये भी कुछ कभी कई लोगों की इच्छा होती है कि हम कम्युनिटी को वापस दें, ह्यूमैनिटी के लिए कुछ सर्व करें. तो देयर इज अ कंसर्न कि किस तरह से विद मैनेजिंग देयर प्रोफेशनल लाइफ, and most of the time now the ISI graduates go towards the industry instead of research. So what kind of message you wanted to give them, like how they can excel in their life in industry, and how they can contribute back to humanity? I think more the researchers are mostly dedicated to working for humanity because they are doing research for humanity, so they donate more, they devote more time. But in industry you don't get that much exposure, so you have to push yourself a little bit extra, I think. So आपका जैसे वर्ल्ड बैंक में जैसे काम करते करते आपने किया, तो how you would like to motivate the ISI graduates of today?
Yes, I think there's a saying, where there is a will, there is a way. By trial and error, we find our path. What is needed is the
सब अच्छा चल रहा है, लाइव वीडियो है, and everybody can see him.
कॉफी रखी हुई है.
I'll take it now.
Yeah, right. And, I will give it to you. Hand over to you.
मैं ले लेता हूँ.
Yeah. Well, it went smoothly.
It's still going on.
Huh?
It's still going on. Yeah. विनोद जी आप बताइए कि
so ऐसा है कि each one of us has to find, that is the, I say, अंतरात्मा की संतुष्टि, that is the, and it is possible. So where is, जिसको कहते हैं एक उमंग होती है, so in a intellectual field, ज्ञान मार्ग is also can certainly make contribution.
Lift your face like that. Yes. Just lift.
Okay.
Facing the screen.
Yes. Karma marg is also there. So in industry, yes, because you are committed to serve the employer, but if you have time, which I am sure one can find time, so उसमें look for community organizations which are genuinely engaged in development of poor downtrodden people. I will give you just one example or a couple of examples I can give. Take the case of uh, tribal girls in India or women in India. They are among the most downtrodden, and there is an organization only hour and a half drive from eastern shores of Delhi called in Hapur, Shiksha Bharti, and that is
Lower your sound of your voice.
CBSE accredited, and IDRF started a dorm or hostel there for tribal girls, where the middle class girls, the local girls, were all day scholars. Now, the result came only a few weeks ago, the CBSE, these 13 girls who passed 12th, some of them score as high as 96, 97% or 92%. Now, it was beyond imagination, but it required a lot of effort. I would say at least 7, 8 years of intensive effort. But with collective effort, we are succeeding in changing their future, which means changing the future of downtrodden in India through education. Let me give you different example of women empowerment. The government has schemes of, this is not too far from Calcutta, called Malda district in West Bengal. The government, actually, Mrs. Gandhi had nationalized the banks in 1970s, and that led to the split of Indian National Congress Party, because Morarji Desai was not in favor of that. Now, and unfortunately, Morarji Desai was right. Just by nationalizing, nothing happens. So, for example, the idea was poor people should get credit and all that. That almost never happened. But Grameen Bank, which is next door to Calcutta, in Bangladesh, or that is a successful example. And in India, there are many similar successful examples, including Seva in Gujarat. So we have microcredit programs in Bengal and in Haryana and some other places as well. And we are very successful in a modest amount of 10,000 rupees or so can gradually change the lives of life of one family. So there is no dearth of opportunities while you are in industry, and I can help you certainly in different parts of India and in different causes, and you don't need IDRF except initial identification, and then directly you can deal with them. I can provide you contact information in a few days' time.
Okay. What is the purpose of this?
The purpose of this is for the ISI alumni meet to get to know about the
Yeah.
senior ISI fellow who
Yeah.
graduated in
Right,
1960s. So I've got the message to give you greetings from the ISI alumni also. So they're saying to ask you question also, Sailaji
Sure.
also on how was your journey with Professor with Dr. Vinodji for so many years, like how
It's
ups and
57
downs.
years.
Yeah.
Well, the journey is at a different level. We were visiting India regularly, every 2 years. So our children got to know India. We have two sons, and it was very important for us that they know geography of India, they know relatives, they can speak and read Hindi, and they need to see the diversity of India. It is so enriching culture that while living here, we can show art objects, dresses, and speak, but that diversity is just so unique. America is also diverse, but there's only one language, one holy book, which is Bible, and one Messiah, which is Christ. Coming from that monolithic setup, coming from very diverse culture to this monolithic setup, took some time to adjust because we have been brought up with diverse languages and people and the level of families. Yeah.
Sanjay Gautam की wedding का बतलाओ.
Yes,
Okay.
two traditions we started. This was very important to us. When our children, we don't have a tradition of gift giving in this family.
Okay.
Don't explain to children your affection is a gift itself, and you don't have to run to the shop to buy something. If you need something, tell us, we will there. So when they met young women, they were going to get married. They decided they don't want any dowry or any negotiation about back home with the family, which pleased us. It was totally their idea, and it was simple wedding in the sense not opulent, but close. Many people misunderstood us that he wanted instead of wedding gift give to IDRF. That was not necessary, but people wrote, and all was given to different organizations because they're all going to share a lot of joy and lot
But
of
Sanjay and
happiness.
Gautam both had visited.
Yeah.
Have first hand.
No, they always visited all these projects, and it is integral part of their thinking that you just don't live for yourself. There is some cause that you pick up and you say, because we are really not brought up by ourselves. There are so many forces that prepared us who we are, and feeling feeling gratefulness that these people were in our lives or this country. I feel we both feel very grateful that we are born and brought up in India, and our families, our language, our culture is very important. But at the same time, in this environment here of a competition, that is second thing. I had a hard time. I will compete with myself, but if I say that I have to be better by so and so, I get nervous. I just cannot think of what better or worse. So there are value systems that you grow up with, then you adapt to the new value system, then you talk to the children. Whatever comes natural to them, they should adapt that. Not necessarily not accepting any gift or wanting any gift. It may suit their nature. So we never ask them, how did you celebrate? How many people came to your house? These things don't matter. But matters, yesterday our granddaughter overstayed. So I have India's map. So we were going over the India's map. And it was interesting that how much they absorbed by talk, by art objects, by dresses, by songs, by association. So their identity is forming, and as far as I'm concerned, they there's they are inspired by and Gandhiji's life. Both of them have read, and have you heard about Gandhi's Center on?
Yeah.
This is on Western Avenue,
Yeah.
Okay.
and
Yes.
it's a Maryland County.
Yes, यहाँ की बात है इंडिया के लिए बना।
Honey, so like that is the only Gandhi Center in the whole country.
Okay.
So raise children with some knowledge that we feel proud of, not necessarily very easy. You have to seek out um, uh, in language, food, dress, manners. We have stayed what they could see us doing and other Indian friends doing it. Our around the world trip has been very enriching, very eye opening. Since World Bank, he was in the World Bank many times. He was always away to Indonesia, Malaysia. These are the two countries that he worked. So it opened up your eyes that how India's impact in Asia, leaving Japan, is and China is quite substantial when you see their art, when there is a respectfully Sanskrit shlokas are written in Thai, you know, museums and Cambodian museums. You just feel good that there is something they have absorbed uh, from the trade routes, because India is fortunate to have three sides is the water, and they went to different countries, especially as traders to Asia, and then Buddhists went, and Buddhism came from India to them. Uh, it has been an enriching experience seeing the world, and also very satisfying.
I think you have touched on very, very
Yes.
important points in nowadays like most of the people who are watching us from Bangalore, and what I have seen in Bangalore, and I've seen a couple of complaints also on that the parents teach their kids, they want their kids to speak in English, not the native Indian languages or not in their mother tongue. It's creating a lot of gap, and I don't know how many of us has a map of India
Yeah.
in the native Indian language. I don't not even having a map of India is a big thing.
Yes.
So knowing their own country, I think that is one of the important thing you mentioned about as you are teaching your granddaughter here. A lot of Indian parents don't do that here in India.
Well,
They are missing out.
one thing in connection
India
with
school.
yeah, have you visited National Geographic?
National Geography, I think.
It's a building, and the National Geographic magazine comes from there. And they had initially, when they were growing up, they will have 16 films on different countries. So we bought the series tickets to go to every Friday evening. That was the thing, that we will go to see National Geographic film, and then we will stop for pizza and then come home. And that was a very enjoyable memory. They still hold it. So they have sufficient awareness. But what has been difficult, that we could not emphasize that you have rights first, you have duty first. When you do something, the rights will follow, automatically will follow. So in that sense, they have understood. We have been fortunate also, that they listen. And he was traveling a lot, so I would say India School. We started something.
India school?
India School, and in 1974, we had a meeting in our house.
Is it with Dhananjay Kumarji?
Dhananjay Kumar to World
That
Bank mein the, but he
oh,
started
that
in
is
Virginia.
North Virginia.
Oh yeah, he started.
Maryland.
Something like that.
Yeah, I'm
But
associated.
India School started 74, and it is in Pyle Junior School right here. And I was part of the India School for 20 years, teaching seniors Hindi and curriculum and history. Identity is very important for children. They should know who they are and what they ought to do in order to, because in my eldest son's time, there was nothing in curriculum they could read about India. So you have to supplement it from home.
ठीक है.
Yeah.
So, हमारे पास कुछ क्वेश्चंस हैं,
Yes.
we'll go through them, and
ठीक है.
I think हमें भी मतलब वहाँ पे भी इंडिया में भी लेट हो रहा है टाइम.
Yeah, sure,
So we'll
sure.
just go quickly on
Yeah,
those things.
quickly.
But
Yes.
आप कुछ थोड़ा सा और शेयर करना चाहेंगे आपकी लाइफ विनोद जी के साथ पिछले 10 साल में और उससे पहले?
No, share in the sense that he started this 30 years ago. I've been very much part of it, and lost his eyesight only 8 years ago. So we will read the reports, we will talk to people. Everybody stayed here when they came from India, whether they came from our IDRF projects or otherwise, because the house is big enough, people can come and they feel homely. It's a very different feeling than staying in a hotel. So this our house was very blessed by many people who.
That happens actually. My grandmom was there, so a lot of people used to come to our house. They all give blessings that they feel
Yeah,
happy.
right. And traveling was a big focus. Just them, hopefully, as they are maturing, they will have something of their own that they can contribute as a volunteer. But they have enough skills that they can do that. But we have learned times are different, priorities are different, and their wives also would like to do these things. So we just don't say to them, now you must do this. No, that language I don't like to speak.
So, Vinod ji, you have already mentioned a part of that why you have left the World Bank, took early retirement because of your commitment. Now, just a question related to that part. Like after you have left, once you have came to US, were you been like in part and associated with some of the ISI institutes back in India, and like for ISI alumni, you wanted to leave any message? It's not a
Well, I am very happy. It was a, I would say, pleasant surprise, and it is all credit goes to Varun for somehow getting hold of me because I'm just and then updating. And this is an excellent example that how from 20th century we have moved to 21st century because in my time at ISI and uh, following very many years, there was no alumni association. And as you know, long, long ago, Professor C.R. Rao also immigrated to USA. And so I'm really happy. I'm very hopeful that we given this social media facilities, you can fulfill your new aspirations to have an ideal blend of your personal and family satisfaction along with your spirit to give back to the community. Uh, so I would say, and I hope ISI is also with your spirit of rejoining hands as alumni association. You are going to strengthen hands of ISI management so that once again they can revive and reach their old glorious standards of world's highest respected institutions.
Thanks, Vinodji. I think we have covered most of the questions which was asked. Thanks for the guidance, and I hope all the alumni who are watching this and who will watch the video later would get inspired by Dr. Vinod Prakash and donate to IDIF or do more towards humanity, as professors, as doctors Vinodji have said, where there is a will, there is a way. So
Well,
Well,
the way it
there's
works,
a
no,
way.
just a minute. The way it works, you write a proposal.
No,
Your
listen, don't go in detail. That is
no,
not.
I'm not going
No,
much in
it's
detail.
not needed.
Then it comes and reads.
Oh,
Usually, they're modest proposals, and then if the fund is needed or guidance is needed, any kind
oh,
of
okay.
a
So that
career
is
guidance.
that is important. Just in case, alumni, I say alumni. Just to clarify Sailaji's point, if you have something you wanted to do for the society, you make a small proposal, like a document. You can send to us, the ISI Alumni. You can reach me. I can connect you with Vinod, or you can directly write to IDIF website. And if you need if funding is needed, or if some correction and the guidance is needed on that proposal, we can help you in that too. So I think we can wrap
Okay,
up
conclude.
this,
Yes.
conclude
And
this.
I must express on behalf of my wife, Sarla, who has been with me for just uh, 58 years.
Yes,
She's
50.
tried
That's a long time.
not, yes. And to all of you, and particularly to Varun, for taking this initiative. And at any stage, in terms of giving back to our motherland, whether your family and friends are in India or are in USA, it will be my privilege and honor to join hands in the fulfilling such dreams and aspirations. Thanks. Bye bye.
I have just
Yeah.
one question. Is statistics taught at high school level or it is only college level?
A part of it's cost at high school level. We can talk about
Yeah,
this
right.
once.
Right.
Close.
So thanks everyone for watching us, and special thanks to Deepak Bhaiya and Abhik Bhaiya ji, who took all the efforts in organizing all this. Thanks all the comments, Bhaskar Rao ji, Abhishek Anand. Thanks for all the comments. I'll be in touch if you have any questions. We are family, as I said, alumni. We'll try to like strengthen up each other and work better for the society. Thank you, everyone. Take care softly. Have a nice evening. Bye.